A voice like rain on an old tin roof brings stories alive with a soothing truth. In pages he weaves a world so light. The stars lean close to kiss the night. His voice lulls hearts in restless mind, lost in tales where dreams unwind. The book feather reads as shadows rise. His words are calm as lullabies. So turn the page and close your eyes. Float where the quiet whispers lie. Across the oceans the stories tide. Relax and let the world subside. A thousand accents the moonlight bends, in words no borders, no distance ends. Worlds collide in his gentle tone. A whisper makes you feel at home. Each line he shares feels like coming back to a hearth of words in the silent black. From novels deep to poems that sway, he reads the night into the day. So turn the page and close your eyes. Float where the quiet whispers lie. Across the oceans the stories tide. Relax and let the world subside. A thousand accents the moonlight bends, in words no borders, no distance ends. Across the oceans the stories tide. Relax and let the world subside. A voice like rain on an old tin roof brings stories alive with a soothing truth. In pages he weaves a world so light. The stars lean close to kiss the night. His voice lulls hearts in restless mind, lost in tales where dreams unwind.
He sat for another few minutes,
Ladies and gentlemen,
then discreetly checked his watch again. Time seemed to have slowed down. Giggity. All right.
Should have waited and called in again.
Ow! My head just came off.
Seems quiet. Too quiet.
It felt more like 25 minutes to have passed, not 5.
I'm Batman. Gotham is never safe without me.
You ready? Does this hurt? Oh! Okay, the best
Some
part is...
reinforcement, please.
What the hell just happened?
That's good.
Red thought he was fancy.
What time is it? It's 7 o'clock. Okay, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hunger gnawed at him.
You can attach towers? Shut up.
I've been trying to practice my glamoring. Look at me. Ooh.
Impromptu performance this evening, which I must say was indeed a welcome distraction.
And he decided that if she allowed him to use the bathroom to pee, then she probably wouldn't stop him from using the kitchen.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes. You're very kind. This is going to be funny.
Hello. Camera. Good evening. Good evening. This just in. The Bookfather has gone live, ready to read another book. Now, over to sports. Just kidding. Don't ask where that came from. I have no idea. So good to see you. It feels like just 2 days ago we were reading. Because it was 2 days ago. Jesse? Are we really doing this again? Thank you for gifting Killa a subby wubby. Just the one? Okay. Just want to make sure. I just, didn't want to get all crazy. Damn it, I need to... Now we're up to 63. Okay. I should really work on that. But yeah, thank you for that. That was very kind of you. Killa? No more ads for you. Charlie Bravo. Alpha Delta. Jesse, congrats on getting almost first. I know you were here technically, but I know what you're doing. It's very kind of you to always give up first place so that somebody else can sweep in and nab it, like Verticat, who just happens to make bookmarks, by the way. Just so you know. And I just threw one. There we go. Sometimes it's great when the camera follows you, but not all the time. Like when I'm doing this. Anyway. Killa, how are you? It is wonderful to see you. Got my first event this weekend. I'm going to be selling. Super excited. Yay you. That's awesome. I actually put in my, submission, application, whatever you want to call it, for the benches that I make, for the woodworking stuff, for our local, farmer's market here in town. So, fingers crossed, I get a spot. I'm waiting to hear. No guarantees, though.
Actually...
That was a very random clip. But there it is. Mama's House Gaming. Hello, my dear. How are you? I'll have to send you all pictures in the Discord. It's like a book trading event and themed towards the Gilmore Girls. That is super specific and interesting. I'm immensely curious. Immensely. Kay. Oh, hold on. Billy! Billy's here. Hi, Billy. Kay, thank you for the 15 months. Holy buckets of glory. 1.25 years. Has it really been that long? Wow. And there's another spin. Fantastic. Okay. Okay. Maybe I just need to do a workout stream. That would be awful. Need to leave, but I'll be back. 10-4. It is very specific, and I low-key have never seen the Gilmore Girls, but somehow made a couple designs for the theme. You know, we all get introduced to things in different ways, and this is just the way that you're getting introduced to it. This is how you leave your mark, your bookmark, that is. What's up, man? Hope it's good. It is. It's all gravy, baby. I just got done working about an hour ago, which is not normal for me, but you know, it is what it is. When meetings are happening, they're happening. Spare yourself the agony? Yeah, probably. Night matcha. Book bonk. You know, I can't wait to switch books. Not because we're not enjoying the book, but because this book hurts. Ow. F&A, man. The dungeon. Skip the spin. No, too late. Oh, so you're not against me doing a workout stream. You're just saying skip my spin. Huh. Not sure how I feel about that. You want to see me? You know, stretch it out, pull a hammy. Oh, we are so gonna die in this dungeon. Okay, well, at least now I know where you stand. I'm just kidding. Let's see. Thursday, by the way. Not the hammies. Thursday, we'll be doing some hell diving. I promised Surf before I left on my work trip that he gets dibs. And I have checked in with him, and so far he's still free for Thursday. And I know Red Thorn is planning on joining. Stump Papa is a maybe, depends on his schoolwork. So yeah, either way, we're gonna have a great time in Helldivers. I actually popped in there earlier today just to check to see if Rexter was here, and picked up another weapon while I was there. Rexter, first of all, hi. Thank you for giving Billy a sub. Oh, are we not playing this game anymore? I'm not even answering that question. There's no point. 65. What I am gonna do, though, before we get into reading, is spin.
Regular curls x5.
Regular curls times 5. I added to the wheel. You probably can't see it, but let's see. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, right here. This wedge right here is the bench press.
No weight squats x10.
Okay. So we've got no weighted squats. I actually prefer when they're weighted sometimes. Why is my camera zoomed? Oh, is it because I did this? There we go. Jesse, you said just the one. Thank you for gifting a sub to Night Marcher. Your hand slipped. Okay, well, I understand. That slippery surfaces, it happens. Did you get your boots yet? For those of you that don't know, Jesse was the winner and recipient of the gift card that was up for grabs for who knows how long. months. And yeah, she won $100. It was amazing. I had to look at the screen like 5 times to make sure I saw that it really was on the wedge, because I was having a hard time believing it. Yeah, okay. I may have spent it not on boots. Well, as long as you spent it, that's, you know, it's for you. It's for you. And I'm super glad you got it. Rexter, thank you for gifting a sub to the community and to none other than Blasian Butterfly. I just got, you know, I'm just gonna get up, okay? What was it? 5 regular curls and... No, don't stop following me, you silly camera. 5 regular curls and 10 regular squats, no weights. Do the squats first, because the camera likes to follow me and it's funny.
It is still a hole, bro.
Yeah, no, I hear it. I see it.
And the curls are going to pump you up. Okay. Oh, God damn, that was... Okay, I know you didn't see that, because we're not on the correct scene, but it was right in my face. Puzzle. If anyone ever tells you to build a bridge and get over it, this is the bridge they were talking about, right here. It looks precious. It's got that small town vibe, and I'm here for it. Lucky I didn't do it mid-workout. Yeah, those weights would have really... They would have broken some bones if I had dropped that. I tell my kids that all the time when they complain. Maya, hi. Okay. Ta-da! Scene change. Wait. I just realized the RPG game crashed. That's the second time it's done that. Tell me why. Huh. If it does that again and I don't notice, feel free to tell me. Well, at least it seems to be working. Attempt number 62. The what? The end between? Is that what it said? Or in between? I don't know. Let's check the tea. I'm sure it's going to be amazing, but let's check anyway. Yup. Pretty frickin' phenomenal. Tomorrow evening at around 6 Central, so basically this time, I'll be in Discord playing Roadcraft with Super SB. In case anyone wants to pop in and, you know, watch, say hi. But not streaming it, just chilling out in Discord. That's the goal. Okay. Let's play ball. Marball. Let's play Marball. 60 seconds. Race number 1, Emerald Downs. Guys, can you believe how close we are to the end of this book? It is scary. Just as a reminder, we're using the hot one more chapter bookmark. One more chapter, Daddy. Please. Stepmama's mama's rolling her eyes right now. What's for dinner tonight, Stepmama's mama? Just out of curiosity. So glad you like them, truly. I do. I think they're awesome. It's like so good, you know? It's like awesome. We had meatloaf with mashed potatoes. Ooh. Stop teasing me. This Once Upon a Crime one with all the blood splatters. I'm here for it. All right. Thank you for being here. Thank you for causing shenanigans pretty much immediately. It is my pleasure to read to you. Please sit back, relax, and I will read you a story. We are on chapter 22, page 285. Remember, this is just book 1, which means there's more. But wait, there's more. Chapter 22 is the 13th of August. It's a Sunday. And we're starting off in Jay's apartment. Oh, wait, hold on. Not only are we starting in Jay's apartment, but maybe another dream? We've got some of the... it's not technically italicized. I think it's just a different font. But either way, I think we're in another dream. So that's where we're starting. Here we go. The gripping fear enveloped her. The rising panic. This was surely going to be the end of her. She couldn't hold on much longer. XJ545-12 opened her eyes and tried to see. Her vision was blurred by the water, and the chemicals stung her eyes. She preserved and tried to see how the others were faring. The one to her left was panicked, struggling, trying desperately to free her limbs and rise to the surface. Her arms jerked frantically in sporadic movements, trying to escape the restraints. It was too late. She opened her lungs and took a breath. She continued to fight for the next minute, arms and legs jerking in sporadic movements, until her head hung forwards and all went still. XJ545-12 tried, but she couldn't tear her eyes away. Just like we can't tear her eyes away from Kay winning the first race. Well done, Kay. You have won this round. Indeed. But here come forth race number 2. The pressure in her lungs was crippling, and the urge to breathe was about to take over. Or to overtake her, sorry. Something's gotta go my way eventually. Damn Skippy. To her right, she could make out the perfectly still shape of the male, head held forward. He was dead too. All-encompassing fear surrounded her. For a long time now, all she had wanted was for her suffering to be over. But now it was time. She didn't want to die. She couldn't hold on. She drew breath and her lungs burned as they filled with water. Her body jerked and twitched as her lungs tried to expel the foreign substance, but it was no use. Firm hands gripped her underarms as she struggled and squirmed, and the cold air hit her face as she broke the surface of the water.
I'm lurking now.
Alan! 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 Thank you for the lurk, Alan. Alan! Some of you will know what commercial I'm talking about. Oh wait, maybe it was Mike. Mike! Mike! the little head out. Anyway, carrying on. There's a break in the story. And, yeah, that was definitely a dream. Adele woke screaming and sweating. Her hands clawed at her throat, and she coughed violently as though she was choking and couldn't breathe. It took her a few seconds to get her bearings and realize where she was. She stared around the familiar dim room, her bedroom, and tried to cling to the feeling of safety. She closed her eyes and tried to calm her frayed nerves, unsure what was happening to her. This had been the same as 3 nights ago, as though she was reliving her days at Polygen. It was more than memories. She was experiencing the horrors and torture all over again, feeling it as though she was still there and had never left. Adele jumped as Jay came bursting in through the door. She'd been so caught up in her thoughts she hadn't heard him outside her room. Adele? Adele, is everything okay? I heard screaming. I'm fine. She was short with him, an unfriendliness in her voice, warning him to stay back. He stared at her quizzically, but she offered no more information. She pulled on her pants and hoodie, then walked straight past Jay without speech, grabbing a jacket on her way out. She left the apartment without looking back, even as Jay shouted after her, "Where are you going? It's the middle of the night." She didn't return until after he had left for work in the morning. She didn't know how she could explain to him she was losing her mind, that when she slept, she was transported back to relive the torture and the experiments. She didn't know if she was safe to be around. This surely wasn't normal. If she had shown signs of psychosis before her escape, they would have terminated her. She feared for her sanity and Jay's safety. There was nobody to ask, nobody to confide in, nobody qualified to delve into what had gone wrong with her mind. She was certain humans never experienced this, at least not ones with sound and healthy minds. When she saw Jay later that day, she offered no explanation for her behavior the previous night and continued with her usual routine, as though there was nothing wrong. It happened again that night, and again the night after. Adele stared at the bed and felt a touch of trepidation the next night. She didn't want to experience those things again. She had worked so hard at keeping those thoughts, feelings, and memories out. As she climbed into bed, she took a moment to calm herself, telling herself she was being ridiculous. It took her some time to fall asleep, and that was worrying. She had never not been able to fall asleep before. Alright, so there's a break here, and it looks like we're going into another dream. Just as we're dreaming that, is it really Charlie that won? It is. Good job, Charlie. Way to break the ranks. Get your name on the board. Push out the others. This is your chance. Your moment. And nothing's gonna stop us now. Good luck. Bright white lights assaulted her eyes. It caused her pain to look at them. She squinted up, trying to understand what was happening. The noise was rushing into her ears, but the sounds were undecipherable. Rough hands grabbed her and forced her onto her bed. The sensation of feeling touch for the first time frightened her. She screamed aloud, and hearing her own noise took her by surprise. Her breathing was fast and shallow, but it felt so wrong. The first time her lungs had been used, and it felt harsh and gritty as she drew each breath. The people in the room were speaking. It took her a moment to recognize that she understood their language. She tried to communicate. I'm guessing this dream is from when she came out of, like, her stasis after being pumped full of data, you know? Like in her pod, or whatever it was called. What is happening? Help me! Help me! A hand slapped her hard across the face, leaving a stinging heat in its wake. The first pain she had ever experienced. It shocked her into silence. You will speak only when spoken to, a harsh voice said. The shock and the fear kept her silent. She watched in horror as one man grabbed her arm and forced it into a machine. It burned. Pain was new and she didn't understand it. It was excruciating as the searing laser cut into her skin. She screamed aloud and tried to pull her arm free, but there were men holding her down. The man hit her again, hard across the side of her face, and she screamed out again. They freed her arm from the machine, and her eyes rested on the black lines and numbers etched into her skin. Still, the men did not speak. She was smaller than them, only a child. She somehow understood she was not done growing. They forced her over onto her front and pushed her face into the bed and restrained her again. Fear, all-consuming, pure and unending. Her heart was racing, and her body shook uncontrollably. She dared not speak again. She dared not ask. They forced her head into the machine, and she screamed again as the same indescribable pain seared into her neck. It was somehow worse this time. And that was the end of the dream, because there's a break in the story. Kind of reminded me of Hitman when they tattoo the number into their neck. Either way, bleh. Adele woke, hyperventilating, and unable to make sense of anything. How could it be that she was seeing and experiencing the horrors and the torture while she slept? She had relived her awakening, and it was so real, the trauma of being pulled from sleepy nothingness and forced into bright, harsh reality. She didn't want to experience that again. The pure fear of being awoken, the confusion and the pain when they branded her with the stamp, and after when they implanted the compliance chip. There was nobody to ask about this. She couldn't admit to Jay that there was something wrong with her. It only happened when she slept. So obviously Adele doesn't understand what nightmares are yet. This is a sign of her becoming essentially more human. I think we kind of talked about that last time a little bit. She made the decision to stay awake for a few nights. It wouldn't matter. She was able to function without sleep for weeks. She carried on as normal, not seeming to deviate from her routine of work, run, sleep. The only difference was, instead of sleeping, she would close down her emotions and sit at the end of her bed, staring at nothing, until the sun came up again. Then she would shower as normal and get herself ready for work. The first 3 days were fine, but by day 4 she was tired. It made no sense. She could function for weeks without sleep. She assumed whatever was in the food Polygen made a difference to her stamina. That, and the fact it was a perfectly controlled environment. She hadn't considered how much extra energy she needed to expend just to accept the busyness of her new life. Her cognitive processes were working harder all the time. I feel you, Adele. I feel you. By day 5, she realized she was afraid to sleep. She couldn't stay awake indefinitely, but it only happened when she slept. Jay still had no idea. That Kay won again. It's gonna be a fight to the finish. I have a feeling. I got a feeling. Just so you know, the streaming version of me is pretty much the same version of me in real life, too. So, take that for what you will. Actually, don't answer that. Jay still had no idea, and the idea she could be a danger to him played on her mind. She wondered if she should tell him. Jay was the only person who had ever helped her, and she didn't want to hurt him, but she was getting on edge with the lack of sleep, and she was no longer sure she could guarantee his safety. I can agree with that statement. Yes, you can. As the evening ended, she sat rigid, waiting for an appropriate time to pretend to go to bed. Adele? Hey, are you even listening to me? The sound of Jay's voice made her body jolt with surprise. How had she not heard him speaking? He was laughing at her.
Hello there.
Hello, Renato. A Renato is never late. A Renato appears when he needs to. It just so happens to be now. Welcome in, sir. How are you? It's good to see you. Is everything okay? He asked with a chuckle. She hated that question. It wasn't a real question. Yes, she lied. What's wrong? He made a move to get close to her. I wish, sadly, I'm more Saruman than Gandalf. Saruman. The eye is upon us. He was looking at her face with interest. Are you sick? He asked, his voice full of concern. No. You look pale. He reached out his hand as if to touch her face, and she jumped to her feet and shoved his hand away before he could get close enough to reach her. Don't touch me! It came out almost as a scream. She was losing control of herself. Jay massaged his arm just above the elbow joint where she had jarred it. And when he spoke again, she could hear the fear in his voice. Adele, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I wasn't going to. Stay away from me. Okay, why are you taking all the wins? Sharing is caring. Just saying. I mean, I realize you're determined to knock me off the first place, podium. I mean, good luck, but you do deserve it. Come at me, bro. The pitch of her voice was rising. She couldn't seem to control it. She stepped back, away from him. Firebeave, it is good to see you. That RV game you were playing today looked, well, looked pretty interesting. It looked like maybe it was the same people that made Peak. Had the same kind of vibe to it. Jay shrugged. Okay.
This lady
Whatever.
has said lube too many times in too many seconds.
Loot. Whatever. I'm sorry. There was no irritation in his voice when he spoke. He was acting as though this was all perfectly normal. He simply sat back down and turned his attention back to the TV, unaware of how close he came to almost losing his arm. She left the apartment without thinking about where she was going. Her legs carried her as though they had a mind of their own. Her thoughts turned to Jay. Had she hurt him? The sleep deprivation was leaving her too tired to control her actions. She was becoming unhinged and dangerous. Her thoughts were becoming jumbled up, running wild from one thing to the next, as though she couldn't hold on to one long enough to complete it. This had happened before, when they kept her without sleep for weeks at a time at Polygen. Out of nowhere, she was assaulted by the pulsing, vibrating sensation in her body. The other was near. She should have felt it before, but her senses were all underperforming. She froze. The sensation sent her mind careering back to Polygen. The strange experiences she had been having during her sleep were fresh in her mind. Panic rippled under her skin. She was close to losing it. She stared at him, unsmiling. Danny didn't speak to her at first. He was addressing the human he was with. Tony, stay where you are, he warned. I'll catch you up, okay? Just go on without me. I'll see you at home. What's going on? Tony looked over to Danny and then to Adele. Is that? The look on Danny's face cut him off. Father, I'm proud of you. For why? It's fun for $7? Yeah, it looked like it. It looked like it indeed. But you know G, he's got to make everything a job, and it's complicated, and I'm the only one doing the work. He's not listening, right? G4P. Where was I? As soon as Tony spoke, it set Adele on edge. What did he know about her? A surge of irritation shot through her. This other had no business telling anyone who she was. Anger. Danny felt an unnatural, unexplainable sense of anger towards his friend. For seemingly no reason at all, he wanted to rip his friend's face off. Tony, just go. I'll explain later, he said through gritted teeth. Tony's eyed his friend, just like I'm eyeing Kay. Something fishy is going on here, Kay. I'm watching you. I'm always watching. Super! I was just talking about you. And Leo's here. Hi, Leo. The universe is kissing my butt, I guess. Oh. Kissy, kissy. I was just talking about you, Super. How we were going to be playing Roadcraft in Discord tomorrow. Yawn 24. Wow. You're watching from the car, waiting for Jake to finish his tutoring lesson or session. Excellent. Well, I'm reading from my office, so you know, we're all in our own spaces. Am I on the track? I don't know. You're not. I think you might have tried to join too soon, okay? You have to let me get the other race up and going first. Low Spoon's day, so we'll be lurking. Hope you. What the heck does that mean? Oh, I don't know. When I saw your play 3, the timer had already run out, so I'm not sure. Spoons equals energy. Okay. Low energy day. Got it. Well, yeah, you just chill out. You just relax. Relax, take a load off. You know? Click to enter when there was 30 seconds left. Well, for some reason, it did not recognize. Hopefully on the next one, it will. Tony eyed his friend, then looked at Adele. He hesitated a moment, unmoving. Adele rounded on Danny. The stress of the last few days and the lack of sleep and the fear that she was going insane all made it so much harder to think. She was abrupt and to the point when she said, "What did you tell him?" Anger. Danny was trying to stay calm, but he didn't understand this irrational fury that had engulfed him so suddenly. He ignored her question and spoke with a calm authority to Tony again. "Go now." This time, Tony backed away. He turned and walked a few paces, but kept stopping to look. He eventually left them, and Danny let out a sigh of relief. Adele and Danny stood stationary, facing each other in the street. It surprised Danny how attuned to her he was suddenly, as though he could feel her feelings. He was desperate to know what it meant, but common sense told him right now would not be the best time to ask. It's probably correct. He spoke to her in soft tones, as though he was coaxing a frightened animal. "There's something wrong." It was both a question and a statement. She didn't answer him, she just continued to stare at him. "You are afraid?" he asked. Panic. His question sent her fear and anxiety skyrocketing. How could he ask her that? It was not okay to show fear, ever. Not to humans, not to XJ5s. Fear was punishable and not permitted. Danny exhaled, feeling adrenaline rush through his own veins. Her fear somehow affected his body and his mind, and he shook it with a sort of terror. Or he shook with a sort of terror, not He shook, not shook it. Shake the fear. Thank you, Super. Always a pleasure. He took another breath and tried to stay calm, but it was proving difficult now. Was it always like this? These new sensations left him both awestruck and terrified at the same time. There was so much about himself he didn't understand. Yes, he was shooketh. Did you know there is a script for a Kylo Ren movie? And Disney said no? Really? That seems kind of dumb. Super wishes to give me a concussion. Very good. Ow. Come with me, he murmured. Let's go somewhere we can talk. Adele knew she needed help. She was tired and scared, and she didn't know what else to do. She wasn't used to feeling so out of her depth and desperate. Finally, I win a race. It's only because Kay wasn't in it. Otherwise, she would have won. I know it. I know it. 60 seconds on the clock. Adam Driver gotten Steven Soderbergh, and they made a script. Huh. But Disney said no. Interesting. Perhaps it was not his time. Silently, she nodded her head and followed him as he set off walking. To anybody looking at them, they just looked like two people heading in the same direction. But there was a lot of silent communication occurring between them as they walked. Disney's only in business to make bad movies. There's some good movies, but man, why would you not want to make that? I'd watch that in a heartbeat. The act of walking soothed Adele. It gave her something to focus on aside from her crippling fear. As they walked, the shared tension they were both experiencing lessened considerably, but it did not disappear. Danny felt lost in his feelings. For the first time in his life, he felt as though he found where he belonged. There was someone here who understood him, or at least understood what it was like to be him, or to be like him. It was the first time he'd ever felt like he wasn't alone, an outcast, different from everyone else. And finally, she was here, trusting him. He couldn't let this opportunity pass him by. I'm a grown man, and I admit I loved K-pop Demon Hunters. I'm a grown man, and I admit I never watched it. But my 9-year-old did, and he liked it. So, again, some things we like, some things we don't. Age is but a number. Adele found Danny's feelings repulsive as they ate at the edges of her mind. They felt odd and intense. She couldn't understand or decipher the sensations. She hated the feel of it, but they were so unfamiliar she was unable to tune them out. They reached an abandoned construction site, closed for the weekend. It was eerily quiet away from the noise of the city. Neither of them had spoken during their walk, and Danny felt as though there was an invisible wall between them, as though she had erected a defense system so he couldn't feel her anymore. He wanted to ask what it all meant. How could his feelings echo hers? Was that normal between people like them? Did he have the same effect on her? But he wasn't entirely certain if he would sound insane. Did she even feel it? I can feel it calling in the air tonight. Oh, XJ5. Oh, God, Super, son of a... yeah, I'm fine. They came to a natural stop, with nowhere else to go without turning around. It seemed as good a place as any to talk. He swallowed down his nerves as he turned to face her and calmly asked her what was wrong. And Verta wants me to read like Arnold. Very well. That's some good tea. Tell you what. I'm on my phone and it almost timed that perfectly with the delay. Oh, good. I'm happy for you.
She didn't answer at first, and he waited, allowing her to collect her thoughts. The invisible wall was still there between them, and he couldn't help but try to push through it, trying to feel how she felt. She held her hand up, palm facing Danny. Stop! She didn't shout, but it was more than words. More like a command hitting him on the inside. It stunned him. As though he had been shocked from inside his body. He didn't know how she had done it, but the unusual assault pulled him up short. Why are you afraid? He eventually asked. It took her a long while to answer him. She needed to get control of herself first. Admitting fear was not something she was comfortable with, and admitting it to another XJ5 was unheard of. I know. She collected her thoughts and put her words together with care. I've not been sleeping. Now, get to the pillow.
Fear, worry, shame. Danny absorbed the feelings like a sponge. He, too, suddenly felt afraid and ashamed, but he had no idea why. He had no idea why the Bookfather won again. Oh, pish posh. It's fine. Fear not, my friends. As quickly as the... Wait. Hold on. Yes. It was so bizarre. As quickly as the feelings arrived, they vanished again, leaving Danny confused. I'm worried I might hurt Jay, she added after her initial surge of panic subsided. Why the number after play? You see all of these spinny objects right here on the page? Although you're on a mobile, so maybe not. You can use... subscribers have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different options they can choose from. If you want to change up how your marble looks. And let's face it, every guy wants to change what their balls look like. Even girls, they want to change what the balls look like too. Uh-huh. He narrowed his eyes, trying to understand. Why would you want to hurt Jay? He asked. I don't want to. I'm struggling to regulate myself without sleep. Why aren't you sleeping? Don't face palm me, stunt mama's mama. Fear and more fear. He couldn't escape her fear. It pulled him under, and he couldn't understand why his body shook with fright and his heart raced. More fear again. The way his body and mind responded to her fear was reflected to her, echoing her own and magnifying it. Closing her eyes, she exhaled forcefully and said, "Control that," as though it was all perfectly normal. What is it? How does it work? He asked after he caught his breath. The questions took her by surprise. She had never given it a second thought that he had never met another XJ5. He had no experience of how the hive mind or their shared responses worked. But the first time she understood why he made her feel confused and overwhelmed, just like you guys are that I won again. I mean, good try, everybody. Good try. Valid effort. Race number 9. She didn't answer, and they both stood in silence, trying to remain calm while waiting for the fear to retreat. Eventually, she took a deep breath and spoke. When I sleep, it is as if I am back there, at that place. Like I remember things without choosing to. You mean you're dreaming? Dreaming wasn't a term she understood. She'd never dreamed at Polygen. Her sleep always came easily, and when she woke, she remembered nothing about her sleep, or about being asleep. Dreaming? She said the word aloud, feeling it in her mouth. Is that what she was doing? Do you dream? Everyone does, he said with a shrug. She shook her head. Not me. Not before. There was a shift in the atmosphere between them. It was subtle, but Danny felt it. She was less afraid, more curious. How do you make it stop? I don't think people control dreaming. I don't think you can stop them, he said. He sensed her unease. Her fear had shot back up, causing him to feel afraid too. It was intense. Sometimes it can help to talk about them, he offered. She didn't answer, or she couldn't. He wasn't sure which. What happens in your dreams? He pressed. The fearful feelings intensified. Danny felt anxious, as though he was about to have a panic attack. How could speaking to another person have this effect on him? It's okay. Whatever they're about, they're only dreams. They can't hurt you. He thought that sounded reassuring, but he was wrong. She felt as though he was dismissing her fears. She didn't argue with him, but he picked up on her uncertainty. He felt how she pulled back away from him, as if the tiny bit of trust they had built between them had shattered into pieces. I'm not saying they're not upsetting, he said, trying to fix his mistake. I'm just saying they can't physically hurt you. They did hurt me. They hurt me every day for 10 years. Danny hung his head. The things she dreamt about must be utterly horrifying. He tried to steer the conversation a little better. How long since you last slept? 5 days, she answered, as though it was nothing. Danny stared at her with wide eyes. 5 days? He asked. 5 days? He repeated. Do you mean 5 days since you've had a full night's sleep? Or 5 days since... He could not bring himself to finish the question. Surely she didn't mean she had been awake for 5 solid days. 5 days, she said. You've not slept in 5 whole days. Wow, he's really hammering this point, isn't he? He asked her again. He caught the surge of irritation from her, which means there's your answer. She remained silent, but her annoyance was eating at her. Am I saying it wrong, or is he just mentally inferior?
How many ways are there to say I've not slept for 5 days? How is he not understanding this?
Well, because he's an idiot, that's why. He stepped back, away from her and her irritation. He felt annoyed too, almost angry, but he was no longer sure if it was his feelings or hers. I gotta admit, that would be just weird. Especially if you can't tell if it's yours or somebody else's feelings. Like, talk about losing your mind. Also, ads are about to start because I didn't keep an eye on the timer. So I'm gonna pause right here. We'll restart that paragraph when the ads are over. Just in case, we'll let them run, and then we'll keep going. Which gives me an opportunity to drink my tea. That's the life of an empath. Yeah, but I think I'm thinking like more literal. Like, as an empath, yes, you kind of take on the ambiance of the emotion that the other person is feeling. But in this situation, it's more like you are feeling the literal feeling that they have. Copy paste. And if you can't tell if it's yours or not, yikes. Oh man, my marble is out for vengeance, I think. Revenge, some might call it. Holy cow. Okay, another 60 seconds ticking away for you to get your marble on the track. I also need to respond to a quick Discord message about some voice work. Give me one moment. Apologies. Okay. There was a guy that I did some YouTube voiceover work for in the past, about Fortnite, actually. We did one video together with the intention of doing many more, and he kind of disappeared on me, but now he's back. He's trying to get back on the schedule of, you know, being consistent. But unfortunately, since that time, my voice work has turned into a more legitimate business of an actual LLC within my state, and the rates that he was offering just aren't gonna cut it this time, so I needed to let him know. The Fortnite shop is so fun right now for Halloween. Yeah, I heard it was taking everyone's money, so just be careful it doesn't suck your bank account dry. All right, ads are over. Let me restart that paragraph. We were only like a sentence in, and we'll keep going. He stepped back, away from her and her irritation. He felt annoyed too, almost angry, but he was no longer sure if it was his feelings or hers. His jaw was set as he pushed his tongue into his teeth, attempting to keep his angry words inside. Her hands came up again in front of her body, palms facing Danny in a position of surrender. "Stop," she said. "I'm not functioning properly. I can't process your anger. I didn't come to hurt you." Danny didn't understand what she meant about processing his anger, but it didn't matter now. It had already passed. "You need to sleep," he said. "And somebody else needs to win. Otherwise, it's gonna look like I'm cheating." Oh, hey, look, a puzzle. Oh, you're doing great. He felt her fears spike again at the mention of sleep. She seemed terrified at the idea. "Why don't you come with me? Come to my house. Sleep there." "The puzzle is pretty fun." "Good. I'm glad you like it. We do one every time I read. And if there's like a whole gaggle of you doing it and you get it done really fast, sometimes there's 2 puzzles." She stared at him, wondering if he was out of his mind. "You don't trust me?" he asked, picking up on her skepticism. "I only want to help you." She still hadn't answered him. She was wondering why he wanted to help her. People rarely treated her with kindness or compassion. "Look, you can't keep awake forever. You need to sleep. You're worried about becoming a danger to Jay or hurting someone. There's less chance you will hurt me, right?" No, she thought. If anything, this strange XJ5 didn't seem to have any control over his senses or his emotions. If she woke from a dream disoriented and afraid, things could escalate to an unmanageable level very quickly. Still, she didn't have any other options. "Are you ready now?" he asked, motioning with his hand for her to follow as he turned around and walked back the way they came. They walked in uncomfortable silence, and Danny's eyes flitted in her direction often, wondering if this was a bad idea. I'm wondering if his girlfriend's gonna find out. Although they just did have a really big argument, so... Her worry and apprehension piled on top of his own, making him feel worse. If the news was to be believed, she was a crazy psycho killer. She could kill indiscriminately and without remorse. The silence drew on, but he could no longer feel her fears. That odd, invisible wall had arrived again. He could sense her still, but it was like she was empty and cold. It made him uncomfortable, but he couldn't put his finger on why. Adele never faltered. Her resolve was strong, even with the lack of sleep. She shrouded herself from Danny and protected herself from his relentless feelings and emotional assault. She couldn't understand why he wasn't switching off. It was hard to keep closed down when feelings sneaked up unexpectedly. It was easy to get carried away, But once you have a hold of yourself, you are expected to keep closed off. Emotional responses hurt the entire group. They are uncomfortable for all and not permitted. And being in such close proximity to only one XJ5 made the feelings so much stronger. She'd never had such a strange mix of feelings forced upon her, and never with this much energy. She was beginning to regret her decision to follow him. They walked in complete silence for 30 minutes. As they drew closer to Danny's house, the tension she was feeling from him spiked. He smiled at her nervously and said, "This is it. This is my house." Okay. I'm just not going to enter the next race. Because now I'm starting to feel kind of bad. I mean, only a little. Don't get me wrong. Don't see this as a weakness. Oh, hold on, Verta. Let me get the race up first. See, I almost clicked join. Okay, now you can join. She didn't return the smile. She had never seen an XJ5 smile before. In fact, the way he spoke was all wrong. Gentle and full of concern. Once inside, they both stood awkwardly while she took in her new surroundings. "I thought we would be alone," she said, hearing the movements of feet upstairs. Her abrupt and to-the-point speech set Danny on edge. His answer was nothing like the way he normally spoke, but came out in a short, informative sentence instead. "That's Tony. He lives here. He's my best friend. I trust him." Her ears caught the term best friend, but it was meaningless to her. Danny offered her something to drink, but she only stood rigid and refused to answer. In the end, after he couldn't stand the tension anymore, he said, "My bedroom is upstairs. Come on, I'll show you." She followed him up the stairs, and Danny prayed Tony would stay in his room. Would he have heard them talking? He was never sure how much a regular human could hear. He hovered in the doorway, feeling awkward at the idea of allowing a perfect stranger access to his bedroom. "I'll just be downstairs if you need anything," he murmured. He felt her irritation flare again. What could I possibly need? Her annoyance was fleeting, and she closed herself down again. She could feel his curiosity, another uncomfortable feeling. Questions were not permitted. Danny closed the door as he left and felt relief as he walked down the stairs, setting some distance between them. He had felt nothing like these frightening, unusual, and nerve-wracking sensations, but it was somehow comforting to know he wasn't alone in the world. So many questions swirled in his head. How did it work? Did she feel the same way he felt her? What was the point of it? There must have been a reason why they were made that way. He wondered how it would feel to him if she dreamed. Would he know what she was dreaming about? She said she only dreamed of memories of her life before. Would he have the chance to experience what it was like if she dreamed tonight? He thought about it a little longer and came to the realization that he only sensed her feelings. He didn't know what she was thinking. If she was dreaming tonight, he would feel what she felt, but he wouldn't have any idea what she was experiencing. Well done, Danny. Way to use that noggin of yours. Danny didn't know what to do to occupy his time while he stayed awake. He sensed her sleeping already, and a sort of calm washed over him. He allowed himself to explore the strange sensations. It was weirdly intimate. He felt creepy, like he was violating her in some way, intruding on her feelings while she slept, but he didn't know how not to feel her. The wall she put up before must be something she could control, but perhaps not something she could keep up during sleep. He thought about calling Gemma. They hadn't spoken since their night a few days ago. He had never gone this long without seeing or speaking to her, and he ached with missing her. But he couldn't shake the thing she had said to him. She hasn't tried to call me either, he thought sullenly. He wondered a lot about his feelings for Gemma. His feelings for her were intense, more than how other people described how they felt for people they loved. He tried to talk to his dad about love, but Frank wasn't a touchy-feely type of man. It made it difficult to discuss anything so personal with him at all. Besides, what if it wasn't normal? His feelings for Gemma bordered on obsession. His need to be close to her and to protect her was overpowering. He craved her presence. He never tired of seeing her, watching her, listening to her talk. She was the single most interesting person he'd ever met. When she was near, he didn't see anyone else. It made him question if he was broken in some way. Jensen had always maintained that he wasn't meant to have feelings. He wondered if this was why they sidelined him for termination. He was faulty stock. Charlie Bravo. See, this is what happens when the Bookfather gets out of the race. It opens up the door for somebody else. "60 seconds. Race number 13 out of 16. Good luck." It was late, and Gemma was probably sleeping now, but he picked up his phone and dialed anyway. After a few moments, her voicemail picked up, and he felt almost bereft as he listened to the recording of her voice. He needed her. He decided he would make things right with her in the morning. Then he remembered Adele upstairs in his bed and wondered what would happen in the morning. Would she be any more friendly? Would she be less terrifying? She was still sleeping, and the only sensations he could feel were peaceful ones. He didn't know what else to do, so he switched on the TV and settled down for the night. Super's back home, everybody. Thank God. We were all silently thinking about you getting home safely. So, our minds are at ease now. That Canadian traffic. It's intense. The government was still spouting its propaganda. There were videos and news reports about possible XJ5 sightings, but they had made no arrests or captures. Then the new ridiculous Know Your Neighbor campaign started rolling. It might sound like an initiative to improve community spirit, but it wasn't. They were encouraging people to check for escapees hiding within their neighborhoods. If you didn't know your neighbors, you were supposed to get to know them, and quickly. I always worry and tend to take things for granted, so I'm glad he's home. Well, that's what I was saying, Mama's House Gaming. Canada's brutal. Unruly. The theory was that the escaped XJ5s wouldn't be able to answer questions about their past. Simple questions like, "How old are you?" or "When is your birthday?" would be enough to give them away. Other questions included, "Where did you grow up? What's your mother called? And what is your favorite color?" There was a number to call should you meet someone who couldn't answer these basic questions. It's a beaver eat beaver world up here. Now you're talking. Somebody barks up the wrong tree and, well, that's it. Danny realized he should warn Adele. She would need to have answers lined up in case anyone approached her with these questions. The night passed slowly and was uneventful, but he was thankful for that. Perhaps if she had enjoyed a dreamless sleep, she would be more amicable this morning. He heard movement upstairs.
Yeah, where you at?
Good God, that's scary.
God, that's bullshit. Yeah, how many are there?
Fubar, I'm gonna need you to calm down your clips. Thank you. Get me a frickin' heart attack. He heard movement upstairs, but it couldn't be Adele. He assumed he would know if she was awake. Ah, look at that. Kay back to winning again. All it took was for me to get out of the way. I want to click join every time. I have to stop myself. Tony appeared in the doorway wearing nothing but his underwear, and he shuffled through sleepily. All right. You been up all night? He asked, then seemed to remember the strange girl from last night. What happened after I left? Danny explained what was wrong with Adele and how he had brought her home last night, and how she was currently sleeping in his bed. Tony's eyes were wide with shock as he took this information in. What do you mean when you say you can feel her? Like, can you feel her now? He asked, a look of pure fascination on his face. Danny shrugged uncomfortably. It was hard to explain how it felt, and he didn't want to freak his friend out. You should get dressed. You should probably keep out of the way until she's gone, too. She's not very friendly. Tony swallowed and stared at his friend. Is she dangerous? Danny made a face. Maybe? I'm not sure, he admitted. Tony didn't need telling twice. He turned on his heels and disappeared back up the stairs and into his room. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was a fairly lengthy chapter 22. We are on page 302, which means there's only 48 pages in the book left. Menacing. But this tea is not menacing. It's amazing. I know. Let's see, we got chapter... Wait, is there a... I forget. Hold the phone. No, there's not. I was looking for contents. I couldn't remember if there was a table. So, chapter 23 is a short one, which we're probably going to do tonight. Chapter 24, which is also a short one. 25, also short. Interesting. 26, also short. Very odd. There aren't really many short chapters at all until right now. So yeah, I think like 2 more streams worth, probably. Based on our typical cadence. You know, talking, working out, stuff like that. Speaking of which, 36 minutes. I'm gonna spin the wheel, do a couple more Wheel of Gains workouts, and then we'll keep going. Sound good? Great.
X10.
Streamer picks. Cool.
Weighted squats X10.
Weighted squats times 10. Fantastic. Let's do it. Wait. Hold on. Foobar 1. I will start the next race. Then I'll do it. Good luck. Boom. You missed another one? Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. Oh, just in case some of you have forgotten. This is the next book. Forget, my mind is a steel trap. Like a trap door, or... All right. Chapter 23. Saturday, the 19th of August. Oh, this time we're... Excuse me. This time, and I think for the first time, we are at Gemma's house. This should be interesting. I don't think we've ever had a Gemma chapter before. We've had chapters with Gemma in it, but not from her perspective. This should be interesting. Looks like Super won that one. Just waiting on the rest. Whenever you're ready. There's Dumb Mama's mama. Come on, Fuba. There you go. Good job. All right. The final lap. Good luck. Gemma woke and saw the missed call from Danny on her phone. She gave a heavy sigh and looked across to her sister's already empty bed on the other side of their small room. Allie was already at the market. Gemma threw on some old sweatpants and a t-shirt and went to see if anybody else was home. Craig was at work, but Gianni was home, and he greeted her with his usual smile.
Good morning, Gemma. You've slept here every night this week. Are things okay with you and your boyfriend? Gianni wasn't being nosy. That was just how he was. He was technically their landlord, but he was so much more than that. He was more of a parental figure for the three of them. Their whole family had lived in this house at one point, the 3 children and their mom and dad. But Eof, their mother, had died when Gemma was 12, and their father, Craig Sr., had vanished months later. Gianni was the one who had stepped up and taken care of them. He was the only person who was happy for Gemma and her relationship with Danny. It didn't matter to him that he was a rich legitimate. He had never turned on her and called her a cash trader. Instead, he would make her some tea and tell her that Craig would come around eventually and that he was probably a little jealous. You think? We had an argument, she confessed. Do you want to tell me about it? He asked, already filling a kettle to make tea. They were lucky. They had running water and electricity in their house, although no gas and no heating. She shook her head. It wasn't the sort of thing she wanted to discuss, even if she could talk about the details of their fight. It might help. I've had my fair share of arguments in my time, he said with a wink. His thick Italian accent showing, though, as he spoke so animatedly. Good grief. I didn't know he was Italian. Hey, Rabaccio. Spaghetti and meatball. I don't even know what we were arguing over. But I know I said something that really hurt him. I mean, really hurt him. I was just so upset. I didn't even mean it. Well, how did you leave it? I told him to get a high-class girlfriend. You know, someone who's more suited to his class status. Her eyes fell to the floor. I think we might be done. Nonsense, he said, waving his hand, dismissing her words. There was a cheerful sharpness in his voice. I'll see how that boy looks at you. I might have never met the guy because you refused to bring him inside, but I know what love looks like, sweetheart. One argument isn't enough to call it quits, no matter what hurtful thing you may have said. I don't know. He said some hurtful things too. He thinks I'm not good enough for him. Need to feed the kitties and fold laundry? Yeah, you do. Don't go slacking on the clothes there, Verda. Gianni coughed. Gemma, sweetheart, did he actually say that? Because that sounds like what you think, not what he thinks. She cast her mind back. He had said that, hadn't he? No, he didn't. Didn't he say that she should be more than a waitress? Wasn't he embarrassed to be with someone with such a low-level service position for a job? And he wanted her to move to Helston. Gromden was an industrial shithole, according to him. Gianni didn't let her think for too long before he said, I doubt that's what he said. But if he did, he won't have meant it. Charlie Bravo, congratulations on winning the final race. We shall see the results soon. You said things you didn't mean. He would have too. You should talk to him. She nodded and thought back to the missed call on her phone. She could call him back, but she didn't want to make her apology over the phone. An apology in person would make him see that she didn't mean what she said. It didn't matter if he was made in a laboratory instead of being born the traditional way. He could have had 3 heads for all she cared. She would still love him.
With 3 heads, though? I mean, that's going to take a minute to get used to. She decided to take Gianni's advice and go to Helston to see Danny and surprise him. I think we all know where this is going. It took her some time to get ready. She had to boil the kettle to fill the sink in the bathroom to wash herself. And she washed her hair too. She didn't bother to dry it. Instead, she put it up in a French plait that snaked across the side of her head. And then took the hair at the back and made it into a neat bun. It looked good, and nobody would guess it was still wet. She dressed in a pair of green trousers she made herself out of the leftover material, and she wore a plain black top with 3/4 length sleeves to complete her outfit. She would need to pass for legitimate if she was going to Helston unaccompanied. Last, she applied a small amount of perfume. She knew to use it sparingly. Danny always said he liked to smell her body, not her perfume. She wasn't sure what he could smell exactly, but not owning a shower or having easy access to hot water made her very self-conscious. She took the train to Branley and walked past her workplace. It was another hour's walk to get to Helston, and if Border Patrol stopped her, she would be in big trouble. She knew she ought to call him and tell him to meet her here instead of breaking the law, but she was caught up in the idea of what a huge romantic gesture would be if she showed up at his house. He couldn't fail to see how sorry she was because of the effort she made to get there. Oh, this is gonna go so bad. She arrived on his street and looked up at his house. Now she was here, the doubts were creeping in. What if he didn't want to see her? What if he was still angry with her? The things she said were unforgivable. She drew a couple of deep breaths to steady her nerves and forced herself to walk up the steps to his front door. When the door opened, it was Tony, not Danny, who was standing before her. "Gemma, what are you doing here?" She noted his tone. He wasn't happy to see her. She wondered what Danny had said to him and how much she had told him about their argument. I'm here to see Danny. Is he home? Can I come in?" Danny appeared behind Tony. "It's okay, man," he said, placing a hand on Tony's shoulder. Tony gave his friend a look, but had nothing to add. He shrugged his shoulders and walked off into the house, leaving them to it. "Danny, I'm so sorry," she wailed and pushed her way into him, flinging her body into his and hugging him hard as the tears ran from her eyes. "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean what I said." His strong arms found their way around her body and he hugged her back. They stood holding each other for some time until Gemma's tears had subsided. When he eventually let her out of his embrace, she grabbed his hand and started for the stairs. She only got halfway when he grabbed her arm and held her steady. "Let's stay down here," he said. She looked at him, a nagging feeling creeping in the back of her head. "We need to talk. I don't want to talk with Tony listening in," she said. "Come on." She yanked his hand as she walked up a few more steps. "No, we can talk here. We don't need to go up there." He pulled her into him. Gemma frowned. They stood on the staircase, almost at the top, and he didn't want her to go any further. There was only one reason she could think why he wouldn't want her in his bedroom. Here we go. She backed away from him, taking 2 more steps up the stairs, and looked at his face. "Why not?" She could hear the accusation in her own voice. He looked away from her for a moment and brought his hands up to his face. She took her opportunity and turned and ran up the last of the stairs, taking Danny by surprise. He bolted after her, reaching her just in time to stop her from pushing open his bedroom door. "Gemma, I can explain." "Hey, Ash, how you doing?" Explain what? Her face was set with fear and disbelief. Surely he hadn't. He wouldn't. Please, just come back downstairs with me, okay? Just let me talk to you. Welp, I've been better, but I'm hanging in there. I'm sorry to hear that. Sometimes we have Mondays, even if it's not Monday. But I hope things get better. She studied his face, searching for some undeniable proof he hadn't cheated on her, when he suddenly grabbed the wall as if to steady himself, and he closed his eyes. No, stay there. It's fine, he whispered under his breath. Danny? This strange behavior was alarming. She'd never seen him act this way before. You injured your knee on Sunday night at work? Ow. Well, I hope it gets better. Danny? She said again, frowning with concern. He opened his eyes and looked at her face, but it was almost as if he was seeing her for the first time that day. He composed himself almost immediately and said, "Come downstairs with me." The races are actually done. We're just kind of holding on this page until I'm finished with the chapter, and then we're going to find out who won the Grand Prix. Gemma nodded, a look of concern on her face. He turned to walk away, and she waited until he had taken 2 paces away from her before her hand jutted out and took hold of the handle of his bedroom door. She shoved it open as fast as she could. Monster, book monster, they call him. Wow. Danny was there in a second. His reflexes were far quicker than any average human's, and his speed was astounding when he allowed himself to use it. He grabbed the door and pulled it closed as soon as Jenna had opened it, but not before they both had an eyeful of the near-naked girl rising from his bed. Gemma! He called her name desperately, reaching out to grab her. She stepped back, shaking her head. No. Tears had sprung up in her eyes. How could you? No, Gemma, it's not what you think, I swear. Your humor's off today. I'm all sick and dying. My voice sounds like I was deep-throating a set of wood rasps. Wow. That's horrible. Oh my God. Grief momentarily floored her. How could he have done this? How could he have taken her words at face value and found someone new? The sorrow turned to anger, and she vehemently hissed at him through gritted teeth. Let me in. I want to see her. She tried to push past him, fighting him with all her strength, although she knew it was pointless. He didn't budge from the doorway, and the tears rolled down her cheeks, leaving splotches of wet on her shirt. How could you do this? She sobbed, all the while pointlessly banging on his chest with balled-up hands. She didn't know if it hurt him. She wished it did. Danny stood and took her pain to salt. He didn't stop her, and he didn't move himself away from the door. She eventually ran out of energy, and her rage-filled punches were becoming weaker as her tears cried harder, and the sobs racked her chest. Gemma. No! She screamed at him. She turned and ran back down the stairs and bolted out of the front door without looking back. Every ugly doubt she had ever had been confirmed. She wasn't good enough for him. And that, folks, is the end of chapter 3, and the end that we all kind of knew was coming when this started up the way it did. Holy cow. Hope that isn't too bad. I'd much rather you weren't experiencing misery with which to find company, but I can commiserate. I missed the bottom step on a 3-step ladder at work and landed on my feet, but my leg hit the ground first and there was a pop and then, ooh. Yeah. You basically took blunt force and the shock just shot up your leg. Ouch. Are you gonna go see a doc about it? Maybe do some physical therapy? Workman's comp? Do you want some tea? It's good. You had x-rays done, there's no broken bones? Well, I sure hope not. I mean, it sucks, but I wouldn't expect you to break a bone. But either way, it's gonna feel stiff and sore for sure. You want me to go to orthopedic doc to get some tests done? That sounds like, yep. That sounds about right, I reckon. You know? All right, let's find out how everyone did in the Grand Prix, shall we? In 3rd place. Ah, look at that. It's me. I didn't take first. I bet you're all chuffed right now. In 2nd place is a very good horsey. Verticat, folding laundry right now. 2nd place. Well done. That can only mean, and I hope you're okay with this. See what I did there? Lady Alpha K, 1st place. Congratulations. Well done. Take a screenshot. Do what you gotta do. Oh, would you look at that? Oh my gosh. Oh, Chew. Super and I are going to be hanging out in Discord tomorrow evening to do some roadcraft together, if you wish to check it out. Now you get bragging rights and your name tattooed on Bookfather's shoulder blade. So close. It's actually going to be on my butt cheek. You missed 2 races. I thought I knocked myself off the podium, to be honest. Well, let's check the numbers, shall we? Let's see what actually happened. Ooh, very close between 3rd and 2nd. Verticat only 4 points ahead. And you had 16 points ahead of Verta. Now, to be fair, Verta did not have any wins, but she was in probably 2nd and 3rd, just enough to creep past me. I had 6 wins, but all my other races were like basically close to last, you know. I didn't notice too many races where I came in like the top 3, which is why I didn't do as well. If I hadn't won those 6 races, it would have been just dismal for me. Just dismal. But hey, good job. Love the idea, but I'm not sure I'll be able to join. I have work tomorrow night, but if it wraps early, I'll definitely come to do some construction. So we got Super and I are both done with the first map, or like first thing, if you can call it a map. First part, I guess. I had only just, yeah, essentially the tutorial map where you have to put the flood wall in. And I had only just started on the next part of that, and I think Super is ready to. So we'll probably, I think I'll be joining Super's map, I think. My curiosity is whatever I do on somebody else's map, will that translate to mine, or do I have to do it over? Because I have mixed feelings about having to do it over if that's the case. And I'm just not sure. Not sure. But hopefully, if we get a chance to co-op correctly, we'll find out. So there you go. You don't remember, honestly? I knew this at one point. Maybe get a choice. Yeah, we'll see. I'm not too concerned anyway. It looks like a really cool game so far, so really enjoying it. So yeah. Well, thank you all for this evening. It has been a lot of fun. It's been great to read again. I still can't believe how close we are to finishing our current book. It's kind of crazy, but it is what it is. Oh, before I forget, and I'll keep mentioning this as, you know, time goes on. Sunday, the 2nd of November through Wednesday, the 12th of November, I will once again be gone for a work trip. Technically 2 work trips, but it's all rolled into one. I'll be in Sacramento for a while, and then I'll be in Phoenix for a little while, and then I'll be back. So, just letting you know now, and again, I'll keep mentioning it, but November 2nd through November 12th. And if we do really have 2 reading streams left of this current book, that means Saturday the 26th, Tuesday the 28th, and then we'll have Thursday the 30th. And so yeah, that'll wrap it up pretty nicely. We'll finish the book, and then we don't have to worry about starting a new one and then disappearing. So crazy jump from place to place. Yeah, that's how it is sometimes. I hear tell that we're supposed to call it Sacramenti these days. Oh, I did not know that. Interesting. Okay. Who do we have online? Mama's House Gaming, you're in, like, San Diego, right? Or somewhere south. Just got an offer from a friend to come work for her, creating and selling body scrubs for $30 an hour. Yes, okay. Well, that's a bummer. I would have really liked a Mama's House hug. I would. Focus, man. I gotta see who's online. Focus. I mean, if you feel like traveling north, she's a massage therapist who is looking to start up her own place. Oh, that's cool. That'd be a nice little side hustle, for sure. The book father does give good hugs. Oh, thank you. I like receiving them too. I'm a hugger, not a fighter. I keep getting distracted. I really need to pay attention to who's online. Who do we want to say hi to? Who do we want to say hi to? Wait. What is this? Oh. Excellent. But honestly, yeah, DM me. Might be able to make it up there. I will. In fact, Sunday the 2nd and Monday the 3rd will be my most free times, or my most free availability. So yeah, if that happens to work for you, that would be amazing. I won't have a vehicle though. That's my only downside. I won't have a rental. More than likely, we're just going to be Ubering everywhere if we go anywhere. But anyway, we'll talk. Let's grab a raid message. You have a vehicle, but it's a doggy car. Hey, everyone loves a doggy car. Woof woof. We're gonna go say hi to Venora. Venora, the Explorer. She's playing Jurassic World Evolution 3 right now. Wow, it helps if did I forget how to do everything? There we go. Jeepers. I'm fine. Right. So yes, Thursday is Helldivers with Surf, Red Thorn, and somebody else. And then we'll have another week of reading, one more gaming session, and then I'm out of here again for 10 days. It's been awesome to see you guys. I really appreciate the gifted subs and the resubs at the beginning of stream. It was very, very thoughtful. I hope you have a fantastic night. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And make sure you get a good night's sleep. See you next time.